The Galactic Empire's shocking encounter with Earth. The stars stretched out across the vast emptiness of space as the Galactic Empire's warships approached Earth. These ships, enormous and filled with the most advanced technology in the galaxy, were a symbol of power. For centuries, the Empire had dominated planets far and wide, leaving a trail of fear in their wake. But Earth, the small blue planet in the corner of the Milky Way, had always been considered weak and insignificant. No one in the Empire thought much of it, not until today. It was a moment the universe had been waiting for. Earth's first real encounter with the might of the Empire. They had watched the stars for years, learning, evolving, and preparing for the inevitable day when the Empire would come. And now, that day had come. The Earth's military, once thought to be unworthy of attention, was ready. What the Empire didn't know was that Earth had secrets. Secrets that could change the galaxy forever. As the Empire's ships entered Earth's atmosphere, they sent a message to Earth's leaders, demanding the planet submit to their rule. You are insignificant. The message stated coldly, surrender now, or face the consequences of your defiance. The arrogance in the Empire's words echoed through space, and their warships continued to move forward, confident that no planet could resist their might. They had crushed empires larger than Earth, and this would be no different. But Earth was ready. Unbeknownst to the Empire, a hidden force had been watching and preparing for this day. Across the world, Earth's defenses, activated, silent, unseen. Across the globe, military leaders were watching the Empire's ships on their radar systems. The world's major military powers had quietly formed an alliance, pooling their resources and technology to create a force unlike any other dot in the heart of the United States. General William Harris stared at the large display screen in front of him. His fingers gripped the edge of the table as he watched the images of the approaching Empire ships. Harris was not just any general, he was the one who had overseen the development of Earth's greatest secret, a project so advanced it had remained hidden for years. The Empire had no idea that Earth had a weapon that could not only defend the planet, but could wipe out entire fleets in a single strike. Harris turned to the communication officer. Initiate the plan. No matter what happens, we cannot allow Earth to fall under the Empire's control. His voice was calm but filled with resolve. The officer nodded and quickly relayed the order to the global network. Within moments, the Earth's military forces across the world were activated. Satellites and space stations sprang to life, sending signals across the solar system. The people of Earth didn't know it, but they were about to witness a change in history. As the Empire's ships drew closer, they could feel uneasy tension, the quiet before the storm. Some people went about their day, unaware of the massive ships in the sky. Others stared up, uncertain of what the future would bring. But one thing was certain, the Empire would not be the ones to write Earth's future. General Harris's eyes were fixed on the screen, watching the lead ship of the Empire fleet move closer. He was ready. The countdown began. He had seen the plans for this moment countless times, but nothing could have prepared him for the moment when it finally came. Without warning, the sky above the Empire's lead ship flashed with bright, blinding light. A powerful, concentrated beam of energy shot up from Earth's surface, striking the ship. The Empire's advanced sensors immediately tried to lock onto the source, but it was too late. The beam struck again, and the ship's shields flickered before collapsing entirely. The massive warship trembled, its once impenetrable outer defenses now useless. The Empire's flagship, the pride of their fleet, was now vulnerable. impossible. The commander of the lead ship shouted, his voice filled with disbelief. His ship, the most powerful in the Empire, had never faced anything like this. The idea that Earth, a mere primitive planet, could have such technology was beyond comprehension. Yet here it was undeniable and real. The Empire's most trusted warship was already in danger. Their entire fleet had just encountered an unforeseen challenge that could change the balance of power forever. The leader of the Galactic Empire, Lord Kalen, watched from his command center, his fists clenched in anger. He had never anticipated this. His empire had conquered countless worlds with ease, and now a tiny, insignificant planet was standing in his way. The audacity of Earth infuriated him. Send a message to the fleet. Engage Earth immediately, he ordered coldly, his voice steely with fury. But Earth was not done yet. As the Empire's ships began to close in, another surprise awaited them. A series of Earth's hidden defense satellites launched from orbit. These satellites, once thought to be mere communication devices, were armed with deadly energy weapons. They fired simultaneously, striking the Empire's smaller ships one by one. In seconds, the fleet was in chaos. The Empire's ships attempted to retaliate, but Earth's defensive systems had already neutralized many of their weapons. It was clear now Earth was not a helpless planet to be conquered. It was a force to be reckoned with. And as the Empire's fleet regrouped, they realized the truth. The galaxy had underestimated Earth. The once confident Galactic Empire, which had dominated the stars for centuries, now faced a new reality. This was no longer a simple conquest. Earth had just sent a message that echoed through the void of space, one that said, "We are not weak, we are not afraid." And as the Empire scrambled to adjust, the planet below them stood united. Earth had revealed its strength, and there was no turning back. The stage was set for an all-out war. The Empire would now understand that Earth was no longer the quiet, insignificant planet they once mocked. They had awakened a power far beyond their imagination. But as the ships in space moved into position, one question lingered in the minds of the Empire's leaders. The Empire's retaliation, a war approaches. The silence of space was deafening as the Galactic Empire's fleet withdrew from Earth's orbit. The once proud warships, humiliated and battered by Earth's unexpected force, now retreated, but their anger was palpable. The Empire's pride had been wounded, and they would not allow this offense to stand. Lord Kalen, the leader of the Empire, stood in the command center of his flagship, seething with fury. His mind raced with calculations, but one thought burned in his mind. Earth must be crushed. The Empire had underestimated the planet's resolve, and now they would pay the price. "We will show them the power of the Empire," Kalen muttered. To himself, his voice cold and filled with venom. He turned to his commanders. "Prepare the fleet. Earth's insolence will be their undoing." The message was clear. The Empire would not tolerate any rebellion, not even from a primitive world like Earth. No matter what defenses Earth had put in place, the might of the Empire was too much to be stopped. Their massive warships, equipped with devastating weaponry and shields, were unmatched across the galaxy. But even Kalon knew that something was different now. The galaxy's balance had been shaken, and Earth had to be taught a lesson that no one would forget. As Earth's leaders watched from their command centers, the tension was palpable. News of the Empire's retreat spread across the planet, but it was a hollow victory. The leaders knew that the Empire would not forget their defeat. They would return with vengeance. General Harris sat in a darkened room, staring at a holographic display of the solar system. The Empire had retreated, but their ships were not gone. They were circling the outskirts of Earth's territory, waiting for the right moment to strike. "We cannot afford to relax," Harris said, his voice steady. "They'll be back, and when they do, it won't be a warning shot. They'll come for Earth with everything they have." Earth's military forces, already on high alert, began to prepare for the inevitable war. Harris knew that they could not wait for the Empire to arrive and overwhelm them with force. They needed to be proactive. They needed to find a way to hit the Empire before they had the chance to attack again. The Earth had been preparing for this moment for years, and the time had come to unleash its true power. In hidden laboratories around the globe, scientists worked feverishly, putting the final touches on Earth's ultimate weapon. A weapon so powerful, so devastating, that it could turn the tide of the war in humanity's favor. The weapon, codenamed Terra Nova, was a massive experimental warship and amalgamation of Earth's most advanced technology, designed to be both a defense and an offense. It was a ship unlike any the galaxy had ever seen, capable of bending the laws of physics to its will. The Terra Nova was Earth's ace in the hole, and it was ready. But the Empire's ships were already closing in. The clock was ticking in deep space. The Empire was preparing for its counterattack. Kalen and his fleet commanders reviewed the tactical plans for the invasion. The Empire would use its overwhelming numbers to crush Earth's defenses. They would break through any barrier that stood in their way, and they would make sure Earth would never rise against them again. "Send a message to Earth," Kalen ordered, his voice a low growl. "Tell them to surrender. This time, there will be no mercy." The Empire's communications officers sent the ultimatum. But as the message traveled across the stars, something unexpected happened. Earth's response was immediate, and it was not one of fear. General Harris stood in front of a large screen, watching the message from the Empire unfold. His eyes narrowed as the words echoed through the room. "Surrender now, or face the full force of the Galactic Empire." He turned to his team. "Prepare the Terra Nova. We don't wait for them to come to us. We make the first move." Earth had made its choice. No longer would they cower in fear of the Empire. They had made their stand, and now it was time for the galaxy to see just how powerful humanity had become. The Terra Nova was not just a weapon, it was a statement. It was a declaration that Earth would not be a slave to any empire, no matter how powerful. As the Empire's fleet moved closer, Earth's defenses were put to the test. The Terra Nova was deployed, its massive form rising from Earth's surface and launching into space. The ship's weapons, capable of launching devastating energy blasts, were powered up and ready for action. The Empire's ships, though numerous, were no match for the ship's power. The stage was set for an epic battle that would determine the fate of Earth. The first encounter between Earth's Terra Nova and the Empire's fleet was explosive. The two forces collided in the void of space, their weapons lighting up the dark expanse. The Terra Nova fired its energy cannons, striking one of the Empire's flagship cruisers and sending it spiraling out of control. The Empire's fleet retaliated, but Earth's ship was faster, more agile, and far more powerful. For the first time, the Empire's warships hesitated. They had never encountered a force like this. Earth was supposed to be nothing more than a weak, defenseless planet, but now they were fighting back, and they were winning. Impossible. Lord Kellen's voice was filled with disbelief as he watched the battle unfold on his command screen. How could they have built such a weapon? But it was too late for questions. The battle was already underway, and the Empire was losing ground. Earth had not only defended itself, but had dealt the first blow to the Empire's pride. The Empire's fleet, once invincible, was now struggling to maintain its position. As the battle raged on, the Empire realized that this war would not be like any they had fought before. Earth had proven that it was not to be underestimated. And as the fight continued, it became clear to both sides that the real war-the fight for the galaxy had only just begun. Earth's warning, a fleet no one expected. The battle raged in the void of space, the silent emptiness now filled with the roar of energy blasts, the deep hum of starships powering their weapons, and the desperate cries of commanders scrambling to regain control. Earth's Terra Nova had shocked the Galactic Empire, dealing a blow to their fleet that no one had ever anticipated. Yet the Empire's pride and arrogance were not easily broken. They had regrouped, and they were not about to retreat. The question that now hung in the air was simple. Would Earth's defenses hold? As the Terra Nova moved through space, its massive form cutting through the darkness like a shining beacon of defiance. General Harris stood at the command center of the ship, his eyes scanning the screens. The ship was a marvel of human engineering, a fusion of centuries-old Earth technology and cutting-edge science, and it was Earth's greatest hope. But even Harris knew that this wasn't just a fight for survival, it was a battle to change the galaxy's very perception of Earth. The Empire was not just a fleet. It was a symbol of authority, an indomitable force that had crushed countless worlds. Earth's victory so far had been a stunning upset, but the fight was far from over. More Empire warships were arriving every moment, overwhelming Earth's defenses with sheer numbers. Harris knew that Earth could not rely on the Terra Nova alone. This battle needed something more, something far more devastating. Earth had a secret, one that the Galactic Empire had yet to discover. Hidden beneath the surface of the planet, in the depths of a military base buried deep in the mountains, a fleet of ships had been built in secret. These ships, once considered an experimental design, were now the key to ensuring Earth's survival. They were faster, more agile, and equipped with weapons that could challenge even the mightiest of the Empire's warships. As the Terra Nova moved into the heart of the battle, Harris gave the order, "Activate the fleet. It's time for Earth's true strength to be revealed." Across the planet, the hidden ships rose from their secret bases, lifting off silently into the night sky before launching into space. These ships were unlike anything the Empire had seen before, streamlined and deadly. Each ship was armed with energy-based weapons, capable of taking down the Empire's advanced shields and weapons in a single shot. The Empire had underestimated Earth, and now they would pay the price. The Empire's commanders watched in stunned silence as Earth's new fleet made its way into the battle. "Impossible," one of them whispered, disbelief creeping into his voice. "How could they have built so many ships without us knowing?" The ships, numbering in the dozens, formed up and engaged the Empire's advancing fleet. The battle was no longer a fight between two ships. It was now an all-out war. Earth's forces were everywhere, and the Empire's warships were being torn apart one by one. For the first time, the Empire found itself on the defensive, unable to predict the speed and precision of Earth's new fleet. As the battle raged, the Empire's leader, Lord Kalen, stood in his command center, his fists clenched. He had never been one to back down from a challenge, but now he was facing something that threatened the very foundation of the Empire itself. His fleet, once the most feared in the galaxy, was being pushed to the brink of destruction by a planet they had once thought unworthy. Of notice, Kellen's eyes flicked over to the communications officer. "Tell the fleet to pull back," he ordered, his voice filled with a rare trace of concern. "We need to regroup." But it was too late. As the Empire's fleet tried to retreat, Earth's ships surrounded them, cutting off all escape routes. Earth had delivered its warning, and it was one that the Empire would never forget. The fleet was trapped. General Harris, watching from the command center of the Terra Nova, felt a surge of pride. Earth had done it. They had not only defended their planet, but they had sent the Galactic Empire a message that could not be ignored. His fingers flew across the console as he issued the final command: destroy their command ship. The Terra Nova fired its final, most powerful blast, a concentrated beam of energy aimed directly at the heart of the Empire's flagship. The energy wave cut through the Empire's defenses like a knife through paper, and the flagship exploded. In a fiery burst, its remains drifting into space, the fleet's morale shattered, and the remaining Empire ships began to surrender one by one. Their once proud commanders, realizing they had lost the battle and, perhaps, the war. Across Earth, celebrations erupted. People flooded the streets, cheering and waving flags. The planet had faced the impossible and emerged victorious. But for General Harris and the military leaders who had orchestrated this victory, the battle was far from over. Earth's warning had been heard loud and clear, but the Empire would not simply accept defeat. Earth had become their greatest enemy, and they would return this time with even more destructive force. As Harris stood on the bridge of the Terra Nova, he couldn't help but wonder what would happen next. The Empire had been humiliated, but they would never forgive Earth for what had happened. It was only a matter of time before they returned, and when they did, Earth would need to be more than just prepared. Earth's rise to power was just beginning, and it was up to humanity to ensure that the galaxy would never forget the day Earth delivered its warning. The war had only just begun. The final stand: Earth's victory. The aftermath of the battle left a vast emptiness of space littered with the remains of the Galactic Empire's once formidable fleet. Earth had done what no one believed was possible. They had faced the might of an empire and sent it retreating, broken and defeated. But this victory, though monumental, was only the beginning. The message was clear, but it also invited retaliation. The Galactic Empire was humiliated, and they would stop at nothing to reclaim their pride. Back on Earth, celebrations filled the streets, but beneath the jubilant cries, there was an undercurrent of tension. People had fought for this victory, but they knew that the war was far from over. General Harris stood in the heart of Earth's command center, surrounded by high-ranking officers and military leaders. He watched the live feeds from satellites positioned around the solar system, scanning for any signs of the Empire's return. The sky, once clear of the Empire's ships, was now slowly beginning to fill once more. "They're coming," Harris muttered, his voice barely audible above the hum of the control room across the galaxy. The news had spread quickly. Earth, once a symbol of weakness, had now become the most powerful force in the Milky Way. The Galactic Empire's flagship had been destroyed, and the remaining Empire ships were in full retreat. The once untouchable Empire had been brought to its knees, but only for a moment. Kalen, the Empire's leader, was not a man who would allow defeat to define him. He was already planning his next move, and Earth would be the focal point of his rage. Back in the Empire's War Council, Kellen's cold eyes surveyed the screens displaying the chaos across the galaxy. Earth will pay for this. The humiliation ends now, he said, his voice laced with fury. His commanders, loyal but nervous, glanced at one another. They knew what was coming. Kalen had already begun assembling a new fleet, one even larger than the last. This time, the Empire would not underestimate Earth. The battle they had fought and lost would only fuel their desire for retribution. As the Empire prepared for its counterstrike, General Harris and the Earth Defense Council were already in motion. They had not wasted a second in capitalizing on their unexpected victory. The Terra Nova remained in orbit, its weapon systems still at the ready. But Harris knew that their advantage would not last forever. Earth needed to act quickly. They had a plan, a new, powerful weapon that could turn the tide of this war for good. In the depths of Earth's military headquarters, a team of scientists and engineers had been working day and night on Project Omega, weapon so powerful it could obliterate an entire fleet in a single strike. This weapon, designed to harness the energy of a collapsing star, had been the stuff of dreams just months ago. Now it was close to completion, and it would be the final card Earth needed to play. "We can't wait for the Empire to reach us again," Harris said, turning to his chief scientist, Dr. Alina Roberts. "Activate Project Omega. We need it." Now, Dr. Roberts nodded, her face serious. She had seen the destruction caused by Earth's weapons before, but nothing would compare to what was about to happen. The Omega device, once activated, would send a shockwave of energy across the galaxy, capable of disabling any technology in its path. No shields, no weapons, nothing could stop it. The countdown to activation began. As Harris watched the progress bar tick forward on the screen, he couldn't help but feel a sense of dread. They were about to launch a weapon that could change the galaxy forever, but it would also put Earth at the center of a cosmic conflict unlike any other. If they succeeded, they would secure their place as the new rulers of the galaxy. If they failed, they would face utter destruction. The final seconds of the countdown passed. Dr. Roberts turned to Harris, her voice filled with a mix of awe and fear. "It's ready. Project Omega is online." Harris gave a brief nod, then turned his attention back to the main screen. The Empire's fleet was drawing closer, its warships lined up like a wall of destruction. Kalen had no idea what was about to hit him. "Fire the weapon," Harris commanded. The Omega device activated, sending a pulse of energy racing through space. The force was so powerful that it shook the foundations of Earth's command center. On the screen, the Empire's fleet began to falter. Ships that had once been invincible, protected by layers of energy shields, now floundered in space as their systems shut down one by one. The Omega pulse had disabled their power grids, their weapons, and their shields in an instant. The Empire's warships drifted helplessly, unable to fight back or escape. Earth had just dealt the final blow. "We did it," Harris whispered, his voice a mixture of relief and disbelief. On the command center's screen, Kellen's flagship floated in space, powerless and vulnerable. The rest of the fleet, reduced to drifting hulks, was no longer a threat. Earth had won. The Empire's pride had been shattered for the last time, but even as Harris allowed himself a moment of victory, he knew that this was just the beginning of Earth's journey. The war with the Empire was over, but Earth had made an enemy for life. The Galactic Empire would regroup, and when they did, they would return stronger, angrier, and more determined to destroy the planet that had humiliated them, as the Earth's citizens celebrated in the streets below. Harris stood at the center of the command room, his mind already shifting to the future. Earth had changed the galaxy forever, but it had also shown the universe that humanity would never again be underestimated. The battle was won, but the war for the future of the galaxy was just beginning, and Earth, now a symbol of power and defiance, was ready to face whatever came next.